May I speak and may we listen in the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Acts chapter 2, verses 7 and 8. Amazed and astonished, they asked, "Are not all these who are speaking Galileans? And how is it that we hear, each of us, in our own native language?" The final chapter of St. John's Gospel shows us Peter being prepared by the risen but not yet ascended Lord to come through the mistakes he made during the days leading up to the crucifixion of Jesus. To come through as a leader of immense significance. Acts chapters 1 and 2 show Peter once again taking a role of leadership that is structural. The body of the 12 needs to be brought back from 11 to 12 by finding a successor to Judas. But a leadership that is also sacrificial, because he preaches on the day of Pentecost new prophecy. "In the last days, says God, I will pour out my Spirit on all mankind." And he preaches new theology. Let all Israel then accept as certain that God has made this same Jesus, whom you crucified, both Lord and Messiah. Both of these are costly to him, as indeed all leadership is costly. A global church is about to be formed. More and more people are about to find out that leadership and service are both costly. Those in the spiritual front line are about to find out that they and their friends are not quite what they thought they were. This is how it is. It can be tense, difficult, and deeply unpleasant, and frequently is. The day of Pentecost saw the disciples all together in one place and in Jerusalem. Since Jesus ascended at the end of St. Luke's Gospel, they had spent their time in the temple praising God. They clearly felt that Jerusalem was their place. Galileans had come to belong there, as many rural people today have found their place in the city. They were at home there. Pentecost itself was a harvest festival. And so it's not surprising that Jews from right around the Mediterranean who could do so gathered in Jerusalem for this particular festival. God chose God's moment. God chose God's place. The disciples were there and Peter became their voice. A harvest festival became a festival of humanity, a festival of transformation, a festival of language, a festival of diversity, a festival of new gathering. St. Luke in the book of Acts emphasizes that the disciples, along with lots of other people, were all together in one place. On the day of Pentecost, this is important for our understanding. Solidarity eases survival. While there are most certainly individual commitment and personal response, there is and there has to be corporate outcome. Communities are equipped. Categories of people are equipped to live the life of the Spirit in their place of origin, in their home place to which they will return. And all of us love even today to hear the list of nations affected by the breath of the Spirit. The same Spirit who blew over the waters at creation. Those nations, starting from Parthians and Medes and going right through to Cretans and Arabs. When the day of Pentecost had come, the disciples were all together in one place. For us on the day of Pentecost 2020, this being all together in one place simply is not possible. The coronavirus is still with us, throughout our society and throughout our world. Being together in one place is not where we can be. The collect for the day of Pentecost offers us hope and gives us another way. In that prayer, the whole Church asks God, by the power of the same Spirit, to strengthen us, to witness to God's truth, and to draw everyone to the fire of God's love. God's truth and God's love, they are the same thing. They are the same energy. They are the same embrace. We have access to God the Father in the Son through the Spirit. The truth of God and the love of God extend and expand our humanity by deepening our response to the needs of others and by taking care of them and of ourselves. This divine energy of human care is what is our witness in the time of COVID-19. The wind of the Spirit is what sustains individuals and communities as we retain the discipleship of self-isolation during a slow but a courageous relaxation of restrictions and reflation of civic and economic life. We need to follow the Spirit in the same ways that Peter encourages the international gathering before him to do so, in allowing voices, predictable and unpredictable, to see visions, to dream dreams, and to prophesy within the same truth and love of God. We need to envision a new type of society, and we need to enable churches and faith communities to have the confidence to make their contribution to a fresh start. Acts chapter 2, verses 16 and 17. Now that is what was spoken through the prophet Joel. In the last days it will be, God declares, that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh.